Right now, while you're here, the richest 1% are making more money in a single minute than most people make in a year. They do it through 4 hidden moves, secrets you were never meant to see. These levers twist money, rewrite the rules, and make their power last forever. You were never supposed to hear this, but the vault is open. Step inside if you're ready to uncover the first one.
Most people believe wealth grows through hard work. For the ultra-rich, it's something else entirely. They've mastered a silent mechanism that multiplies their fortunes without lifting a finger. They call it the compound game. You've heard of compound interest. Teachers call it the 8th wonder of the world. But what they never told you is that the 1% use it on a scale so powerful it bends the economy in their favor. While the average person hopes to earn a few percent in a savings account, billionaires lock in those same percentages on amounts so massive they defy imagination. Think of this. A 5% gain on $1 billion is 50 million, not in a decade, every year. And when those gains are reinvested, they snowball into hundreds of millions, then billions without new effort. For them, growth is automatic. For everyone else, compounding works in reverse. Debt on a credit card compounds just as fast, only downward. The same rule that builds their empire chains you to the system. But their advantage is not only size, it's access. You can't buy into the vehicles they use. These investments are private, invitation only, and locked away from public markets. Private equity, hedge funds, venture capital, offshore funds, each layer shields them from the losses you suffer. When something fails, it's written off. When something succeeds, it compounds untaxed. They build webs of entities, trusts feeding funds, funds feeding holding companies, each one reinvesting the gains and protecting the previous one. Every dollar is recycled, sheltered, and multiplied. They don't keep money in banks. They own the pipelines through which money flows. And they time the market differently. While you panic during crises, they see opportunity. When prices crash, they buy everything that's bleeding. Real estate, stocks, companies. They buy cheap, they wait, and compounding does the rest. History shows it every time. After each crash, the rich emerge richer, stronger, untouchable. It's not luck, it's design. They've structured a system where losses barely scratch them and wins last forever. The math you learned in school is the same math they use, but their version is weaponized. A small percentage becomes an empire when the rules are bent to protect it. This game doesn't make headlines because it's boring on the surface. 5% doesn't sound exciting, but small numbers, when protected from taxes and risk, become the sharpest weapon in finance. They don't need tenfold returns, they need consistency. Quiet growth, compounded over decades, beats any lottery. And yet, there's one piece missing. Compounding builds the fortress, yes, but how do they make sure the fortress is invisible to everyone else? That's the part almost no one talks about. It's the reason their wealth isn't just big, it's untouchable. If this opened your eyes, if it made you think twice about what you've been told, don't just watch in silence. Hit like. It tells the system you're paying attention, and it keeps this investigation alive. Because the next revelation shows how they make this fortress vanish from the law's eyes. And that secret is even harder to trace. The first secret exposed how wealth grows like a fortress, layer by layer. But even the strongest walls need protection. The 1% know this. That's why they don't just build wealth. They bend the environment around it. They make sure the rules favor them before the game even begins. This is the invisible handshake. Not a law, not an agreement on paper. It's an understanding among the most powerful players in finance and politics. It happens in rooms you'll never enter, at tables where decisions worth trillions are made without a single vote. While the public watches the news, thinking markets rise and fall by chance, the real moves happen quietly. Central banks adjust interest rates with cryptic statements. Governments announce emergency measures. Hedge funds anticipate these moves weeks in advance. None of this is random. Each decision shifts money, massive flows, toward those already positioned to benefit. When new money is created to stabilize the economy, it doesn't rain evenly. It floods the assets owned by the rich. Stocks climb, real estate surges, corporate valuations explode. Ordinary people see the same headlines but feel it only as higher rent, expensive food, and shrinking purchasing power. While they struggle, portfolios at the top expand at record speed. The 1% thrive in chaos. Every crisis becomes an opportunity. When fear drives prices down, they buy. When recovery begins, they're already ahead. They win in the fall, and they win in the rise. The invisible handshake ensures the outcome long before the public realizes what's happening. Remember 2008? Banks crashed the system and still walked away with taxpayer bailouts. Millions lost homes, pensions, and years of work, yet the architects of the collapse grew richer. Or take 2020. Markets collapsed, then rebounded to record highs while small businesses vanished forever. Each time, the script repeats. Losses are socialized, gains are privatized. You're not part of these conversations. You never see the deals, but the effects reach you. They're in your mortgage rate, your paycheck, the cost of every item you buy. The invisible handshake touches everything without you noticing. And here's the most dangerous part. It's not illegal. It's not even hidden in the traditional sense. It's wrapped in complex language, buried in reports no one reads, disguised as economic necessity. The media calls it market forces. Politicians call it stability. But the truth is simpler. Someone is always pulling the strings, and they're not doing it for you. Ask yourself, why does every solution to a crisis end up enriching the same small circle? Why do the same names surface no matter how bad the storm? This isn't random. It's an ongoing alignment of interests at the very top, interests that never include yours. Understanding this doesn't make you paranoid, it makes you aware. Most people will never see it. They'll keep believing the game is fair while the invisible handshake moves quietly, ensuring the rich stay ahead. If this opened your eyes, take a moment to subscribe. Not for me, for yourself, because what comes next reveals a layer even more hidden. The next secret doesn't just tilt the playing field, it makes wealth vanish from the law's reach. And once you see how they do it, you'll understand why almost no one dares to speak about it. The fortress is built, the rules are bent, but there's still one predator that could threaten their empire: taxes. For most people, taxes are unavoidable. For the 1%, they're an illusion. They've turned the tax system into a shadow they simply walk through. This is the tax ghost. It's not about evasion or breaking laws. It's about shaping the laws so they never apply in the first place. The ultra-rich don't hide from the taxman. They make him invisible. They use trusts that outlive generations, shell companies scattered across borders, and offshore accounts where the rules bend in their favor. Each entity exists for a reason: to hold assets without technically owning them, to move profits without triggering taxes, to create layers so complex even regulators can't follow the trail. Imagine this: a billionaire's yacht isn't owned by him. It's owned by a company in the Cayman Islands, which is owned by another company in Luxembourg, which is controlled by a trust registered in Delaware. On paper, he owns nothing. In reality, he controls everything. The system rewards this. Laws written with loopholes become highways for those who can afford the right lawyers and accountants. These aren't illegal tricks, they're features built into the system itself. While the average person spends weeks filling out tax forms, the ultra-rich move billions through invisible channels that never see the light of day. You might think governments would stop this, but remember the invisible handshake? The same forces that control money flows influence legislation. The laws are written by people who understand exactly how they can be used and who benefits from them. Look at the numbers. Some billionaires pay lower effective tax rates than their own employees. Companies making billions report little to no tax because profits are shifted to friendly jurisdictions. The public outrage comes and goes, but the structures remain. They've been built to last. And here's the real trick. These mechanisms don't just protect current wealth, they protect future wealth. Assets pass to heirs without ever triggering the taxes ordinary families face. Dynasties grow while the state collects nothing. The tax ghost is silent. You'll never see it on a form or a receipt. You'll never read about it in a brochure, but it's everywhere. In every luxury estate held by a trust, every private jet owned by a shell company, every fortune that keeps growing without ever being touched. By the time authorities try to close one loophole, 3 more have been created. The game is endless, and they're always several moves ahead. So while the public pays, the richest pay almost nothing, not because they cheat, but because the rules were never meant to apply to them. But this isn't the final move. There's one more layer, one last code. Because the 1% don't just protect their wealth, they protect it from time itself. And that secret is the most dangerous of all.
The other secrets showed how wealth is built, protected, and hidden. Yet one force remains undefeated for almost everyone: time. Fortunes shrink, businesses fall, and legacies fade. But the ultra-rich have found a way to defy this natural decay. They have created something that lets their influence stretch far beyond their own lives. This is the time shield, the mechanism that transforms wealth into something close to immortality. Ordinary families work to leave something for the next generation. Often, that inheritance gets taxed, spent, or lost within decades. For the 1%, the story is different. They design structures that make their assets untouchable, immune to erosion. Through dynastic trusts, wealth flows across centuries without ever triggering the taxes or divisions that destroy normal estates. These trusts don't just protect the money, they control it, dictating how it can be used long after the founder is gone. The rich also use foundations, which to the public look like acts of generosity. Many do fund charities, but they serve another function: locking away capital under the control of the family's future heirs. These foundations grow quietly, earning investment returns while shaping policy, culture, and even global debates, all under the family's name. What looks like giving is often a way to gain influence that never expires. Time is their greatest multiplier. Because assets inside these structures keep compounding, they grow exponentially across generations. The founder may die, but the machinery keeps running, feeding the same bloodline with ever-expanding wealth. The assets don't transfer in the traditional sense. Legally, they stay in the trust, in the foundation, beyond the reach of inheritance laws. This strategy also buys power. Wealth preserved across centuries funds political campaigns, lobby groups, and media networks. Laws are subtly adjusted to secure these protections. Policies that threaten the shield are diluted before they pass. The family influence isn't just maintained, it strengthens with every generation. Consider the dynasties you know by name:
families that shaped industries, governments, even wars. Their influence didn't survive by accident, it was engineered. While the majority believe wealth fades with time, these families ensured theirs defied the cycle. Their shield doesn't just preserve assets, it preserves control. For them, time doesn't take away, it gives. Every decade that passes only makes them harder to challenge. Their capital grows, their structures tighten, their presence in the world deepens. And while most fight to secure a future for their children, these families plan for heirs they will never meet, hundreds of years from now. This is why the gap between the rich and everyone else isn't closing, it's widening with every tick of the clock. The time shield is the last code, the one that completes the pattern. Wealth grows without end, rules bend to protect it, taxes vanish, and time itself becomes their ally. Now you see why these secrets were never meant to reach you. The system isn't flawed, it's working exactly as intended, for them. And the real question is not how they did it, it's what you will do now that you've seen what was hidden.
You've seen the 4 secrets they worked so hard to bury. The compound game, turning small percentages into endless empires. The invisible handshake, bending the rules before you even know they've changed. The tax ghost, making billions vanish from the reach of the law. And the time shield, transforming wealth into something that outlives generations. Each piece is powerful on its own. Together, they form a system that was never built for you. A system that doesn't fail, it functions exactly as designed. Most people will never know this. They'll keep playing by the rules they were given, unaware the game is already over. But you've seen behind the curtain. You know what they don't want you to know. The question is, what will you do with this knowledge? Stay silent or stay awake? If this opened your eyes, hit like so more people can break through the same fog. And subscribe, because the deeper we go, the more dangerous the truths become. The next investigation is already in motion. Stay sharp, stay watching, because the secrets never stop.